Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. It is the 4th. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I've just out of it this morning, I guess. I'm like all in my head thinking about all this stuff. Well, let's come and look at what the market is doing. Got all the robots on there. Volume profile. All right, E-mini. So yesterday, going into the morning, there was a little bit of a dip. I don't remember. Did we take it short there? I don't recall, but it recovered quite nicely into the end of the day. But largely we're flat and kind of building out some balance, just a little bit below the all-time highs. I could see here not a whole lot of movement in the differences between indexes or anything else like that. It seems like after the Google news and everything, earnings that hasn't been all that much to move the markets. Treasuries, on the other hand, continues its slide. And here again, we continue to see this thing where during the regular U.S. session, it doesn't move very much at all. But then in the overnight sessions and later in the day, you get some pressure. And we continue to see some steepening here. Bear steepener. Very interesting to me. But I think that the real driver here continues to be the dollar over here. Dollar, again, pushing up a little bit, and we're now at 91.3. They pressured the 91 overnight, but it's higher once again. Kind of interesting. I think that this has more to do with, Europe and concerns over vaccine distribution, I think is what's causing the movement into the dollar. Maybe there's some other things, but yeah, that's kind of interesting. Here, oil did take off yesterday. We kind of saw that as it was going because of the OPEC meeting, landing up at 56. I don't know. You guys told me that we would never see $50 barrel of oil ever again. Okay. Gold's taken another pretty solid step down in the overnight, and silver following, but silver is much more constrained. We'll have to see if silver decides to hold this area or if it tries to go back to 25 again. I still think that the overall silver trade looks okay, especially on a chart. I'm not like a huge on the supply and everything. I was noting stories yesterday that the U.S. Mint couldn't meet all of the demand that they were getting for physical coins. But I'm also seeing some. Oh wait, we have news here. I forgot about this. So we're gonna get like jobless claims and everything. Copper kind of going both ways here. Let's come over here. Make sure we catch the news. Okay, 779K, less than expected. Good. Waiting for more of these numbers. So we got 779 versus 830. So it was less than expected. I'd say that's a decent beat, actually. It's not enough to make the indexes go like, giddy up or anything like that, but it's a good number. My jigsaw numbers here aren't updating. No, I think there might be something wrong with that. I'm going to reopen it. Okay, now I'm getting it. 6.8% versus 4% on unit labor costs, negative 4.8 versus negative 2.8 on non-farm productivity. The 4-week average is at 848,000. And yeah, that's where we get. Okay. What else we got? Oh yeah, another thing that I should note is that over in Europe they're talking about negative interest rates. Man, look at the treasuries, just pretty aggressive today on the downside. Maybe the play is to go into treasuries. I don't know, because the E-mini doesn't really look like it's doing anything all that, you know what? We should also take a look here at Bitcoin. Taking a little bit of a dive from, they were heading towards the highs and taking a little bit of a dive. So, all right, I'm going to minimize that one. I'm going to turn that one on. Make sure that my robots are all doing their thing. I can see that some of my robots are trying to take trades. Interesting, Brandon taking an early trade. I don't think that Brandon should trade that early. I think that we should take off. I think that we should tell him that he can't trade like the first 5 bars of the session or something like that to make sure that there's like some volume built up for it, Let's see here. What you got? How are you doing, Vlad? And Win, of course. Thank you. Always being here, Win. I have read on more than one site that perhaps silver is a deflection to distract and divert everyone from GME. Is this possible? It's possible, yes. Hold on. So, I was doing quite a bit of research on the social media side of the silver play yesterday. And here's what I found. So if you go and you search Google for mentions of silver on Reddit, not just using the Reddit search function, but just any mention of silver, there was 2 posts, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. There was hardly any discussion of silver on Wall Street Bets before that. I mean, there was always a group of people that were into silver and everything, but it wasn't really a widespread thing, and you'd see posts that didn't have very many upvotes. But then you saw 2 posts in particular that had about 20,000 upvotes. The first one that I see was created by an account that has only been around since April of this year and didn't really have all of that many posts. And so I would mark that account as suspicious, but I wouldn't necessarily say that that means it was for sure a conspiracy or anything like that, but it certainly gives us reason for suspicion. Okay. But then what I see after that is a large number of people coming in and just organically liking the trade. So there was another post by a poster who over a year ago made some plays that ended very poorly for him and were very reckless. And he said, like, now I'm divorced and all of these things, and so I'm going to post another play. And his play was silver. So that got 20,000 upvotes. And there was a couple of other posts. Some people saying that you don't want to go into the SLV ETF because Citadel owns a lot of that, and that you want to go into AG or PSLV or just buy physical silver. Anyways, so there was a large number of established accounts coming in and just liking the trade, right? But then at that point, Reddit came in and decided that the most important thing was to continue pumping up GME, and that everybody's money needed to be concentrated in that and buying as much GME as possible. And any other mention of anything else was essentially considered to be bot spam and was suppressed, is basically what happened. So, was it a deflection to divert people from GME? Well, I'm not going to say that it's not possible, but we don't have any direct evidence of that. So I don't know. I thought that the silver trade was pretty good. I'm looking at it now. So AG is down about 4% overnight. And, it was down yesterday too. And the silver futures are in backwardation right now, which means that people are paying more for the front month than they are for the back months, which means, that it's kind of a complicated thing because I used to think that, backwardation or contango were like set things like this is bullish or bearish and you do something in that particular situation and it's easy money or something like that. But it's actually much more complicated. Wow. Zach X, well, I don't know how to say your name, but thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it. Silver was hype into resistance. So I think that what happened was a bunch of people did go over the weekend and just buy up silver. And these people that were doing it were people that were already buying a lot of silver anyways. Like I saw a lot of TikToks on this, right? People like I saw this one TikTok of this guy. He went to like 4 different places in his town and they were all completely out of silver. So anyways, backwardation means that they're paying more for the front month than the back month. So that means that there's like short-term concerns about the supply and people are paying up for it. But that the market makers in that market don't expect that demand to last. Right? So it can go one of two ways, right? If they're right, then that means that the price of silver is going to go down, into the summer. If they are wrong, though, and that demand continues to carry through, then it's going to come up and it's going to be really big. And there is some evidence to suggest that when we've been in situations like this before, particularly when the U.S. Treasury is saying that they're having trouble providing all of the silver coins that people want, the price of silver has gone up. I would also note that the big driver right now is the dollar, right? One more just cause. Well, thank you so much. I don't, it's not telling me what that comes out to because I don't know what Swedish krona, but I really appreciate it, dude. Thank you very much. Anyways, so because the dollar is so dominant right now, it's not going to be super great look on the daily charts for things like silver and gold, right? But that is likely to just be a temporary thing, right? And I would expect that maybe, in a few days that the dollar downtrend will continue again unless there is some sort of like huge sell-off coming that we don't know about, because I don't know why the dollar would continue moving up, other than that over in Europe they're talking about negative interest rates and troubles with the vaccine and everything else. And so it's not so much that the dollar is strong as it is that the euro just looks terrible right now. Is my coffee can full of quarters worth more today than last week? None of its quarters. Okay, Apple News yesterday was collaborating with Kia after hours. So, well, and let's see here. What is Apple? Apple is up 1.5% this morning. Well, people will take any excuse they can to buy Apple. I was surprised that they would do it with Kia, to be honest with you. I don't think that Kia are that great of cars. I think they're good value, I suppose, but I've actually seen some stuff from mechanics showing that the Kias aren't, some of the Kias have really big problems. It just it doesn't fit in with their brand to me. You know what I mean? Like to me, good to be mass produced maybe, To me, what would fit in with their brand? Well, maybe you would go in with Tesla, or maybe you would go in with one of the smarty pants car manufacturers like BMW or something like that. Yeah, I think brand wise that BMW would be the one that you'd be going for, right? So I'm surprised. Well, at least it's not Ford. You don't like Fords. I actually, as a company right now, like as a stock, I think that Ford looks okay, but I kind of looked at it, but it wasn't enough to get me to go into it. I was like, well. The thing I don't understand sometimes is why is the share price of a company dropping after a positive quarterly report? Well, that happens all the time, actually. So that happened to me on a stock. I'll show you here. So Sumo Logic right here. You see Sumo Logic on my chart? Hold on a second. Okay, so you see my little chart of Sumo Logic over here. Okay, you see this big red candle right here? That was the day after earnings in Sumo Logic. It's actually, that chart's not actually all the way over. There we go. Same with this one. I've been having issues with it. I don't know why, but it doesn't scroll all the way over to the right. So again, that bar right there, that big red bar was Sumo Logic when it was at $30, and the earnings were good, but the day after it sold off, and now it's 40 and actually touched 45 at one point. And I think that it would have continued even higher, could have held that if not for the whole GME trade kind of negatively affecting the index overall, which also kind of suggests to me, I think that this is going to just keep going. I think this company, that this is one I own. I should have been clear with that at the beginning. Was I? I guess I did kind of say that. I have a full position in Sumo Logic. Like some of these, I'm putting in little gambles here and there. Or rare earth element resources was a little gamble. I did put in a little bit on silver, probably more than I should have, and I did put in a little bit on the Bitcoin short. Neither of those two look to be turning out too well. But Sumo Logic was a full position. So, anyways, I think that part of why that happens is just because somebody is making a play on the earnings themselves. So the earnings are good, then he sells his position because he got what he wanted, right? And the execution impact of him getting out of the trade is that it sells. So you will get these moves where the company looks good, but somebody was just making a play on earnings and it goes down. But if you're an investor and you like the company and you have read through their report and you still like everything that you're seeing, that's just an opportunity to buy it cheap, man. Lots of people popping in early. Thank you guys for stopping in. Yeah, let's see here. Europe needs to stump up cash to boost its chip industry, a board member of the continent's largest car maker Volkswagen said, pointing to a global semiconductor shortage that has highlighted dependence on foreign players. Yeah. Well, so something I've seen on this, it was just somebody being the worst in the world is going to happen sort of thing. But they were pointing out that, hey, so much of our semiconductor capacity comes from Taiwan. What happens if China really does come in and take out Taiwan? It would be like, oh, you're from Europe. I guess, yeah, okay. For the U.S., for my time, it's 6:45. I have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to do this. Can you see the trend on the VIX? Are we trending upward? Is this the beginning of a possible correction? Well, I don't even have the VIX up in here. Let us pull it up on this one right here. VIX. So what upward trend in the VIX are you talking about? So if I zoom out here, well, if I come over here onto like a 1 year, right? What are we seeing? There was a temporary increase in the VIX, and it has almost completely retraced. It is almost completely retraced. By the way, why is this, why are these open, high, low, close? I want candlesticks. Okay. So, how to put this? The pattern that you're going to see in the VIX is this triangle, right? Why is that? That one is actually a little weird and is something different, but you will get a volatility event. People will buy protection to protect themselves on the downside, and then the effects of that volatility event slowly wear off as the market slowly forgets it. And so that's why you will see in the volatility index these triangles. So what does this tell you? This tells you that the GME short squeeze was a risk event. It was a very short-lived risk event, but it was a risk event. And people had to buy protection to cover themselves from it. Now, the other side of that is that people were paying a lot for calls and everything in all of those names. And so that also pushes the VIX up, and not necessarily people looking for protections. There's some of these times where because people are paying so much for calls that it goes up, right? Could you explain your rationale, entry, and exit points? Well, it depends on a lot of things, and I don't necessarily always want to tell you everything about it. One thing that I will tell you is that there are times where if I really, really want to get into, like, I think that a trend is about to start because I have a fundamental reason to believe so, and I'm not really seeing anything in terms of like a good risk reward position to take it at, or price that stands out to me, I will buy it on the cross of a 10-minute simple moving average, simply because that's a good way to catch the beginning of a trend. But I am much more looking at the order book and trying to determine places where they're trading, they're absorbing contracts, and they're just letting it go. And I'm trying to find the places where, based on the order flow, it looks like that price is going to hold, and trying to get it there. But I'm not going to take something like that unless I see an overall macro framework and daily sentiment that suggests to me that I'm the right direction. Okay, Michael asks what to do with silver. I don't know. It sure doesn't look good, does it? Maybe it would be prudent to just dump the silver. Like, the thing is that the trade was a good trade. That particular leg of the trade is over. I was playing more on a monthly basis. So could this, if we pull this over, maybe this goes down to here, and then, we get this eventually. Maybe. Depends on your window. If you're just looking to like day trade it today, silver doesn't look so hot, does it? And there really is, because there was like a heavy sentiment change against silver on Reddit for no real reason, frankly. Other than that they want you to pay attention to GME. It's totally illogical, right? But here again, if you have a real fundamental reason to believe that silver is going to be good in the future, and I can't say that I necessarily do, okay? I think that the dollar is going to continue to depreciate this year. And I think that the chart looked really good before all of this noise happened. So then maybe it is a good play, but it's interesting none of you asking me about GME, because we haven't talked about GME. What do I see in GME? Well, somebody was pumping it in the overnight. This right here. They were never able to beat that overnight. You're right. It was like, here's the impact, and it comes down. Like, now this is a trend for sure, right? This is a trend for sure. But then when you look at this looks like, okay, this looks like somebody wanting it, trying to make the new highs and lows. And then something coming in, and maybe they weren't going to hold their risk overnight. And so they got out. And look, when they get out, guess what? The execution impact of your trade basically means that you don't make any money. Silver long-term has a bullish case over 24 months, is what you say? Oh, okay. What to do with silver. But then everybody will just say, why are you pushing silver? He's a Citadel shill or whatever the deal is. Anyways, so GameStop yesterday had the short sell restrictions placed on it, right? And that's what they got. The kids are knocking on the door. I left the door open. And I'm going to go and open it for them. All I had to do was turn the doorknob. Michael G says bad trade did not hold long enough. Anyways, so GME, they didn't have the short sell restrictions on, so I would expect it to be up yesterday, but look at this. It didn't really do anything. Then in the overnight, buying. You know what? Maybe they'll do this again. All these guys are saying that, the buyers should have new accounts by now. They've all moved over to Robinhood. The people that are still left on Robinhood has pretty much raised their restrictions now at this point. So the buyers can buy in again and they can try and squeeze this. Well, we'll see. I think that all of the weak hands in GME have already been washed out, which is to say there was a lot of people that saw the S3 numbers and said, okay, that means that the short squeeze is over, and they got out because of that. And there's another group of people that wanted to stay in, but they had very overextended margin positions and got margin called. And the fact that Robinhood is completely reducing the restrictions and everything suggests to me that the big margin positions they had on that was causing them so much grief and risk and everything they've been called. They've been called, and that's why they're reducing the restrictions, which means the weekends are out. So I guess today could be an important day. Next Tuesday will be an important day too, right? But today could be an important day. I bet you that here before the open, I think that if I had the ability to buy in the overnight, that 95 would be a good buy, and that they'll probably try and pump it ahead of the market again. They still need volumes to hold higher prices. Yeah. And then this just gets me into the thing that I was so preoccupied with this morning, because there was a post on Reddit where somebody was saying, like, you guys are turning this into an echo chamber and you need to shut up and listen to the people that know what's going on and stop downvoting everything that doesn't conform to your worldview, because you're shouting down good information. And I 100% agree. This whole nonsense in GameStop about short ladders, it's not a thing in a large stock, man. A short ladder is something that you do in a penny stock that nobody pays attention to and nobody's trading, because you have to coordinate buys and sells between two people, right? How do you do that when it's trading millions of shares a day? Anybody, if they even thought that was happening, all that they'd have to do is buy in, and it would completely mess up your trade, right? It's not a thing on a big stock like that. And everybody completely bought into it wholeheartedly and ignored the bearish ticks down. And hey, if they'd known that it is just a legitimate decline, would they have made different decisions? I think that a lot of them would have. So it's blatant misinformation causing active harm to people. And it bothers me greatly. Well, look at there. I called out 95, right? They're pushing it. So so it doesn't mean it can't fade and die on Friday. Most luck if they try to pump it. Yeah. Well, and you'd also think, because it's good, like there is the whole weekend thing. Like you have to consider the weekend and what you can do over the weekend. So like most of them folded under 90. That's why it's probably doing nothing in range. Well, I like I was saying, I don't even think that they folded. I think that they got taken out of the position. That's how I would put it. It's kind of interesting. We did get a good little run of buying there in the S&P 500, but now it's just right back to where it was. Do we have other stuff later today? Factory orders, but that's about it. The jobless claims did not really move them at all, did it? In fact, we actually did a little dip after that, then came back and then pushed on the other side. Now, well, that's actually interesting. Charts. So if we look at it from the perspective of they're stuck here, and I'm trying to avoid using the word balance. Everybody uses the word balance. I don't think that means balance, but you can see that they spend a lot of time there. Range extension down, range extension up. So does that mean range extension down again? Let's see. It looks like they're having a hard time getting away from there, though. And when we come back over here and we look at the profile, it's a very, right. So that's really interesting to me. And then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, silver. And then the next thing that irks me over on Reddit is silver. I guess maybe because I liked the silver trade and they just didn't like it. But they all jumped in on this as silver is just a distraction thing. And I don't think that's what happened. I think that there was one person that posted something about silver that is a little questionable, but it was still an okay post. He was really just reposting things that people were leaving in the comments. And then a couple of people, I think, did like the trade and bought it up. And like, here's the thing, is that Reddit turned pretty decidedly against silver on Thursday and Friday, right? And despite that, people still went out and bought up as much silver as they could over the weekend. It wasn't the Wall Street bets, guys. What happened was somebody spread it on Wall Street bets, and the gold and silver bugs caught wind of it and bought it up. So just the gold and silver bugs trying to buy it over the weekend pushed silver up in an unprecedented weekend gap, which says to me that it was a good trade. That if Reddit had gone all in on it, that they would be creating utter chaos in silver right now. But that's what I think. And but it's like you can't convince them. Well, I take that back. You know what? I started harping on the short. Oh my gosh, this yesterday on TikTok. Okay, so I've been harping especially on TikTok. I mean, I talk about it here in the stream, but I don't have to talk about it too much here on stream because you guys understand this stuff. I think largely you understand it if you've been watching the stream regularly. I'm sitting here like, do it really have influence? And I'm starting to think, well, it seems like when I start talking about something and I have a good point, that other people it does start catching on. So maybe I do. But yesterday I saw a video where this girl on TikTok, and it looks to me like she had like a regular TikTok account before, and she decided to jump on this GME and become a stock expert at that point. That's what it looks like to me. And so she posted this video saying, here's the order book in GameStop. Look, there's this big 1,000 lot here. That is so unusual. They are like, this is the manipulation that's going on in GameStop. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So she was saying that 1,000 lots on there, which is like $100,000. Okay. It's like $100,000. In GameStop stock. And that's a lot at one level, right? No. Okay, 217. And if you assume that like the full margin requirements is $1,000 on each one of those for the long-term maintenance margin, that's like $200,000 in margin right there. And that's at almost every price in the S&P 500, right? That's a dream come true expert TikTok guru, right? CoffeeZilla, I like CoffeeZilla's channel, and he's been making a bunch of videos about ridiculous things that he's seen on TikTok. Anyways, I didn't go into all of that. I just said, look, I specialize in the order book and market microstructure. I have watched market makers, do their market making thing at a large firm. And what you're seeing is nothing unusual. This is what pretty much every market looks like all the time. Is one side is going to be slightly stronger than the other on the level 2, and there's going to be some large orders somewhere. That's always the case, and there's nothing unusual about it at all, right? So the video, I don't know why, but TikTok used to not show me views until a long time afterwards. It was like I'd have to shut it down, and overnight people would watch it, and then the next day I could see how many it actually showed it to, right? This time it started updating the views almost immediately, and it said that 2 people had watched it. And so then I went back to go and look at the original video that I stitched to read the comments again, and I couldn't see it anymore. So she saw the video as soon as I had posted it and immediately blocked me. And I didn't think I was being mean or trolly or anything like that. I was just saying, like, this is misinformation. What she's showing you is wrong. Immediately blocks me. Like, okay, fine. Stay in your ignorance if you must. But I am seeing people on Reddit are starting to realize that I'm right about this, and I'm seeing more commenters, defend my position on it. So maybe they're coming around on the short ladder thing. I don't think I'm going to convince them on the silver thing, though. I really think that, like, well, listen, let them do GameStop. Like, let's continue the GameStop thing until Tuesday. If the numbers that come out on Tuesday show that there's still a high degree of short interest and that the S3 numbers are wrong, then this continues. And if they come out and they say that they're basically all out, then maybe GameStop is over, right? If Reddit wants to have an impact out there after that, and wants to continue this kind of like, let's all get into a trade and create chaos on Wall Street and fuck around with everybody's portfolio strategies, these hedge fund portfolio strategies, long, short, and all of that sort of stuff. I think that silver is a good place to do it. I think that if everybody had bought up silver the way that they did in GameStop, that AG could have been up to close to $100 by now, and that there would have been even more discussion about silver than there was GameStop. But that's just me. Maybe it was YouTube. They will delete links on another channel unless you are a mod. The link may appear if you... Oh, that's... Yeah. Well, it kind of depends on your account. So apparently... No, good morning, Ace. Apparently these social media websites like TikTok and YouTube will give you like a risk score. They'll mark your account in terms of how likely they think you are to like post a spam link, I guess. It was funny because, well, not necessarily funny, but TikTok accidentally exposed that in their API. So like if you load TikTok on a web browser, you can go and look at it and see what they assess your account's risk score as. You're gonna go long? Well, I have robots long. So that's interesting. Brandon took the trade here. Oh, did he get out? Wait, hold on a second. I kind of changed things up. That's not right. I decided to change things up a little bit, and I added all of my strategies on MES too to see what they do. And it looks to me, yeah, well, that's really interesting. It looks to me that on this thing, that on Brandon, on MES, he uses order flow, so it's not going to be as good. It looks like him on MES is terrible, though, because he's taken a bunch of trades. What about Indy? Indy might be a little bit better. Nope. Just in the one that it's in. So I got a couple of robots in positions along, but they're not really getting anything out of it yet. Twitch becoming more day trade popular. You can see big YouTubers there now. Yeah, I've kind of wondered, because remember one of those first days somebody asked me about it, why don't you use Twitch? And I kind of explained why. And, you know, I've been looking at it. So the biggest streamer over there on YouTube is the stock guy. And I remember back when I was still streaming on YouTube, he was maybe getting 500 viewers a day on like a really good day. And here on YouTube, we reached 500 viewers a day. But now he's reaching 60,000 a day on some days. In fact, on some days, he is the most watched person on Twitch right now. Crazy, right? And so I was kind of like, okay, so would I have picked up even more viewers if I had continued streaming this on Twitch? Well, maybe not, because there's a lot of competition, you know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to say, but I don't think that it really matters in the long run. The traders that we're trying to reach, that the audience that I am targeting is going to find us one way or another, right? Because of our focus on futures and order flow. So, and most of those guys that, you know, the 60,000, most of them would never have stayed around anyways, right? Just like here, well, we've picked up a lot more viewers, and a lot of you guys have stuck around, which is really great, but we're not getting 500 a day still, right? Because we're not, you know, there was no way that they were going to stay around. How do seasonal companies like Canada Goose factor into your day's trading decisions? Looking at their earnings reports and given the nature of the business, day trading their stocks is difficult. We stay because you're great to watch. Thank you, Ethan. I am just a guy trying to do my thing. Nothing special about me. I always say that because I don't want anybody to come in and think that, oh, this is this amazing day trading guru, that he's the real deal and that's why everybody's watching him because he always wins. It might seem like that sometimes, but sometimes I do awful. So pineapple, I don't really take it. So you are special to me. Thanks. We didn't finish this yesterday. We could get together this weekend. We could do it this time, right? Your kid is better. I could come down. We could, just chat for 30 minutes or something. Let me know. Maybe text me. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So pineapple, because I am largely focused on day trading futures. So here again, oh, you still have the COVID? Okay. I'm trading the futures, right? I don't know what that was there, but my internet just like, bleh. I think maybe that cable needs to be replaced. Still with me? Oh, he's like, no one else has a running case of COVID, but I can't take any chances. But I'm immune now. Okay, whatever. It's fine. I thought it was okay. Maybe I need to wait until I can get a vaccine. We made it through the other side. Okay, so because I'm mostly interested in the macro impacts, the only reason that I'm going to look at individual stocks is because those have either a significant impact on the index or it tells me something about the macro framework overall, right? So I can see on here, how are my big tech companies doing? Tesla, Google, not really moving overnight. My Sumo Logic is doing good for some reason. MSTR is doing good because Bitcoin is up. But, I got AMC, BB, BBY, GME. I got those big four up there so that I can see how is the short squeeze trade doing, right? And I can see how is the silver trade doing, right? I'm trying to look at different market sectors that are important right now and see what they tell me about the macro framework, right? So these individual companies, they have earnings and some sort of seasonal earnings and things like I'm not interested in that. I've only been interested in a few day trades over in stocks because we're having unprecedented activity over there. And I thought, perhaps rather foolishly, that I might have had an edge over there in that area. I guess we'll see. So I wouldn't say that it's over yet, and I was trying to swing it. But no, if I'm day trading, I'm going to take it over in the ES. And so then those sorts of things don't matter, right? And this is where you get all of these advantages in ES. For instance, everybody's, on TikTok, they're like, this is why you don't day trade because Citadel front runs your orders and blah. Well, guess what? If you trade futures, you don't have that problem because your orders go directly to the market, no matter what. They go directly onto the order book at the CME, and that's that. Don't have the same problem. Futures, you don't pay the same taxes. You get a little bit of a tax break there. Those sorts of things. Oh, maybe there was a power outage. If you start smoking, maybe they'll give you a vaccine. What's so funny is my mom. So she's like, She helps like do people's taxes and books and stuff like that. And the company that they work for, though, is like a medical company. So they got, even though none of what she does is like high or any of that, she got priority and got the vaccine. But given that I work from home and that I'm pretty healthy and that I already had it. So get this. I'm told that if you already had it, that you probably shouldn't get the vaccine until it's been a while, because you'll have a more adverse reaction to it. I see. So I guess that strategy is a swing trading in this sense. There's a shorter time frame to do those trades, so factors that are more short in time span is much more beneficial to consider, right? Because if it's like a company, for instance, and I saw something in earnings that I really, really like, how long is it going to take the rest of the market to jump on that? If I think that GME is still going to go up, and at this point, I really just don't even know. It could take weeks. It could still take weeks, actually. When again, that one turned around pretty ugly, didn't it? It went against me as soon as I posted it. Well, Ace, I think that was execution impact, actually. I could be wrong, but I think we could make a good case that was execution impact. So let's come back here. Let's come and look at our one tick chart, right? Yeah. Oh, totally. So see right here? Okay, so here was a bounce on the moving average, and you can see the rise in cumulative delta from there. And also note here, short-term regime change after the initial buy. By the way, this leg right here tends to be 4 times this one. Okay, so that was the short-term regime change. Look right here, the volume didn't really change, okay? So the reason that came back was because of the short-term regime change after somebody bought. So if I look at this is a big buy right here. Okay, it didn't go anywhere. So he puked right here, sell. Right? What does it do? It goes lower. So that was the execution impact of that trade hitting us on the other side. So it probably was a case where, because we took that trade, because there wasn't any reason for it to continue moving up, nobody else was buying up in here, then that means that the execution impact of our trade is that it's going to come back and we're going to lose money. Financial news that it's almost completely subjective. Well, that's false. There's been numerous studies that have looked at news sources and blog sources and mined those out using computer algorithms and made a consistent profit using that information in peer-reviewed studies that we showed you yesterday. You would maybe go long again when it's too close to the open. It's kind of weird, like this whole execution impact thing. It's kind of, I'm kind of looking at it now and I'm like, how did I ever not see this? Because I always felt like, it's like it's following my trades, and so like it never goes and this and that. But now I'm realizing that no, it was because of my trades. But it wasn't just because of my trades. It was the aggregate of our trades. It was our large meta order together. And when we were bailing, you lose money on it. Because I thought that, yeah, you get in on it and then everybody else follows and it goes up. There is something to that, but I think that that's more like on a long-term thing. Like you want to get like more public interest on something. But when we're talking just about scalping, like pushing it up because of your execution impact doesn't do anything. So I think the only time that you would be trying to move something with your execution impact would be if you know there's a spot that there's going to be stops at, right? For most traders, that's completely false. So yesterday, for instance, we had a good example yesterday, didn't we, right? Heard over the news squawk that they were considering changing the stimulus bill so that less people got the stimulus. That's a headline. It comes over the news squawk. The market's moved down. You could have sold it there. I was kind of like hands off, but if I had been sitting there with my mouse, and I could have, as soon as I heard that, I could have gone short and I would have made money on that. What you're saying is just objectively false, and we have empirical evidence to support that what you're saying is wrong. News for index futures traders is irrelevant. I've just given you a video with 6 examples of where news moved the index futures. And I gave you an example from yesterday when it moved the index futures. Rip into them. I know. I'm like, okay. You have what is the word? You have a thesis, okay? Here, your thesis is that for most traders and speculators, news is useless information. Present some empirical evidence that supports your hypothesis. Because my hypothesis is that news is an extremely important factor for day traders and that you can make money just trading on news. And I created a video with some empirical evidence, including broker statements, that supports my hypothesis. So now it's your turn. What kind of empirical evidence do you have to support your hypothesis? They don't have any. I'm sure it does that, but it's not a good way to trade. So, well, that was where it was going back to the thing. I didn't really get into that in that video. I really should have. I guess I just kind of forgot about it. But the thing with news is that you have to consider more than just a piece of news, right? You also have to consider what the trend was at the time, what people were expecting, how random or unexpected that piece of news was, and what everybody's positioning was. And so you will get a lot of situations where like the market was already moving up and everybody was already positioned long. And then you get a piece of news and it will come out and it's a good piece of news. And so you say, oh, I should buy on this news because it's good. And then it goes the other way and this is the execution impact of your trade, right? Because it was already up and maybe that piece of news was already being factored in by insiders or something like that. Then the people trying to get in on the news trade, it will just go against them because as they stop out, they get out. The execution impact of that trade makes it not worth as much. Whereas if we're moving up like we did, like yesterday was a good example. We were moving up. Everybody was, well, it wasn't yesterday. It was 2 days ago, wasn't it? We were moving up. Everybody was positioned long. And then there was a piece of news that came out that was completely unexpected. Like nobody was sitting there going, oh, I'm worried that the market might crash because of, what's going on in Congress with the stimulus bill. So it was a very unexpected piece of news. And so that's where you get in and you can go, okay, I can go short and I can make money off of that. And that was something that went like 20 handles. And so if you had gotten in almost anywhere reasonably close to when the piece of news came out, you would have made money. You say make news the basis of your trading and you'll have a very short career. Okay, go and tell that to the guys over at Axia because they make money trading news. In fact, they've created a whole new course about how they trade news. I think that if you want to have a short career in trading, then go and trade technical analysis like everybody else. I guess this is another reason why I like talking about the execution impact thing so much, because a lot of people say, well, maybe technical analysis doesn't really show us any inefficiency in the market or tendency in people. Maybe technical analysis only works because other people are seeing it too. And so if everybody comes in and buys, then the thing will move up. Yes. And then what will end up happening is the execution impact of your trades will make it so that you lose money. You say you walk yourself into the blender trading that way, but all of my best money that I've made has been on news. Market moves 30 plus ticks on news. No one made money trading that. Nope. No way. No how. Right. And if you go and you watch that video, I even go into a couple of reasons why it's advantageous towards you for you in that situation, right? Okay, why does Top Step not allow traders to trade news? So they don't want you to trade economic numbers. So two things here. First of all, when you go and you look at my video, I do talk about a couple of trades that were off of economic numbers, but you'll notice that those trades that were successful were not ones where like I heard the number and I clicked in immediately. They were all like the slow mover ones where like it did something and I kind of let the fallout go through, and then I made my trade based off of how I read that piece of news. So this is the first thing. I think that the better ones are the ones that are unexpected, unplanned news events, right? Second of all, Top Step used to have a rule that if you traded around news that your combine would get taken out. And I took a trade that was more than a minute after the news, and I made money on that trade, and Top Step invalidated my combine. So I went and I talked to support, and they looked at it and they said, oh yeah, you're right. You were following the rules, and we'll fix your account. So they fixed the account, and they took that rule out. So my understanding, and I don't think that they ever put it back in. So my understanding is that they determined that because they don't really have a good way to enforce this rule about trading around the news, that they took it out, or that it's like not a part of the first section of the combine or something like that. Coaching newbies actively trade on news reports you have absolutely so. If you don't have some empirical evidence to support your central thesis, you're wasting your breath. Because, well, I never said that trading news was necessarily easy, because you do need to get a pretty wide understanding of the economics and markets, don't you? But the best way that you're going to learn is by, just even if you're just trading a sim account, is just coming in here and watching the market reactions and making sure you understand the numbers that come out and the information that comes out. Okay, so here we go. First impulse is long. That was a little bit early. Looks like. Shoot. That was a little unusual, even for the open. I want to short everything. That was a really weird sweep, wasn't it? Okay, well, GME is selling on the open. Silver's looking awful. Ooh, silver's down 7%. It really depends on how impactful the news is. Iran's attack on the U.S. base, yeah. Well, I talk about the disadvantages to news trading in my video at the beginning, right? And I think that one's the biggest one, is that the impact that news has on the markets kind of oscillates. And you'll get these periods of time where the market really, really reacts strongly to news events. And then you'll get these time periods where it seems like it'll seem like the piece of news is really significant and the market just won't care at all. Okay, well, GME is getting some pushback on that bar. Looks like the longs are pushing their advantage now. Ooh, you really got to wonder what the hell that was, don't you think? That thing right there. Ooh. The hell was that? Look, the cumulative delta didn't go down really. It was just a large offer got put on. That was super sketch. Yeah, spot silver falls to $26. And AG down $1. Okay, so the longs made a pretty good excursion there on the upside, but it wasn't as far as they would normally go. And it wasn't far enough to get us filled. JP warns Biden nominees on hold until after Trump impeachment trial. Oh dear. Yeah. Roaring Kitty has some significant problems. He is a registered representative. Well, he is a CFA, right? I don't think that means that he can't make videos, though, right? But that was a job that he doesn't have anymore. Like he quit them or something, like a long time ago. GME is just getting creamed, man. I know, y'all's was saying today's the day just to come in and buy it, and now down 10%, right? First thing. There you go. Mass Mutual stated he resigned on January. Oh, really? So it was actually relatively recently. He was making those videos while he still worked there. I don't know if that's a problem or not. I'm not a CFA, so I don't know what they're... Sure that in the CFA course they teach you that, though, right? No, we're trading, getting a little bit volume here in the 38, 32.50 area. Overall, it doesn't look like either side is being too aggressive right now. So that's a little interesting. Well, looks like that one's not gonna work out, guys. You think that FINRA might reverse his trades? How would you say that? Wait, sorry. Why would they have a claim against his large win? What exactly is it that he did that would put him in a regulatory problem? So first of all, a CFA is not like a government certification or anything. So that's the first thing. You realize that, right? I didn't realize. I thought it was like an official thing at first, but no, it's just there's a company out there that there's a company out there that runs the course, and it's just really highly regarded. So I don't think that having a CFA puts you under any kind of increased regulatory scrutiny. He was a licensed securities member. Okay, but then what was it that he did that would maybe be illegal? They can't make YouTube videos? Zurich shares down 5.94% after Morgan Stanley downgrades them to underweight. CNN President Jeff Zucker to step down at end of year. Ooh, that's actually a big deal. I mean, it wouldn't really matter for politics, but it definitely matters for what kind of content will be put on CNN and for the news industry as a whole. You have to disclose your positions in statement of trades. I mean, I think he kind of did, though, didn't he? I don't know what you mean by statement of trades, but he did disclose that he had a position in it. I'll have to look. We'll see. Okay, so it looks like GME has maybe found some temporary support. E-mini is still just kind of churning around here, not quite able to get above the open yet. It looks like there's a little bit of a vortex here at 38.33 that they're having trouble getting away from. Yeah, we'd have to look at it. I don't know if we have enough information to conclusively say that he will be in trouble. If they come in and they hit him, that sure is going to create a firestorm among the retail traders, won't it? Talking about the establishment or the deep state, whatever, going after a guy because he won and getting revenge. That's what the narrative would turn into if that happened, right? But to get those certifications, you have to know all of those rules. So he would know. He seemed like a smart guy, and that he would know what his responsibilities are, and that he would put all of that in there. So let's not jump to conclusions. Hearing maybe something that could affect the euro. Ooh, by the way, the Japanese yen is just getting crushed today. ECB extends bilateral euro liquidity lines with non-euro area central banks. I don't know if that matters or not, but there it is. Euro doesn't look too hot the past few 30 minutes since the open. Euro looking poor, but the equity's having trouble pushing up. Oh no, YouTube is taking down raw footage from the Capitol riot. Yeah. If Jimmy was strung this hammer and hold, well, you got a hammer. It actually looks like both of these 5-minute bars are going to be hammers on Jimmy, huh? What? David Portnoy has just posted a video of himself that somebody modified from I don't know what this is. Some movie. Maybe it's Avatar. Maybe it's the really crappy Avatar live action. And they gave him toilet paper hands. And he says, "This isn't over." Okay, it is over. You puked. Well, I tell you what. I guess it's not unusual for the E-mini to be constrained, and it's happened recently. This is very constrained. But I find it so interesting that we would be constrained after having that initial shove on the open that was so strong and overdone. Okay. So here comes the buying again. Not quite there. We might get a little bit more here, though. Let's see. There was definitely some FOMOing into it there, don't you think? I was just thinking, I saw that went up, and I was like, well, if I hadn't have been holding this here forever, yeah, 35 is probably where I would have ended up having to get in at, and I'd be unhappy about it. Yeah, 13 minutes. In fact, yeah, factory orders usually isn't a big mover, is it? But I would say, yesterday that prices number actually, apparently people paid more attention to that number than it might have seemed from the initial reaction. And so I think given that factory orders might be a little bit more important than it normally is. Because if people are paying higher prices and they're still buying a lot of it, then that could affect the treasuries, right? A rising tide lifts all boats. So says Patrick Rooney. Yep. Meanwhile, silver continues to get creamed there, huh? That's pretty ugly. You know what? I want... First of all, that should be a 5-minute chart. Just a little bit more. Come on. GME is not along. It really looks to me like people are bailing, don't you think? I mean, I know there's been a lot of noise and everything, but it looks to me like when the S3 numbers came out, that a large number of informed traders bailed, and then we got a bunch of margin calls, and then it's just kind of been going sideways. And I think now that you're seeing the retail diamond hands folks slowly but surely kind of... Okay, so I'm going to cancel this for a second and not make the mistake that we made yesterday and come and look for my volatility targets first before I do, especially since that's really going. Okay. 60. Well, it'd be really hard to get there, but I'll put it. One article gets posted about FINRA and GME guy, and everybody runs with it. Yeah, it was. I think that Greg was just going off of what he knows. Okay, so really strong buy. It's pulling back a bit. So that looks to me like the short-term regime change after the strong meta order coming in. The delta's not really changing a whole lot on the way down. It is lower though. That bar did end up lower than the previous bar. I am kind of wondering now if maybe the larger players here, like the big funds and so forth, are holding back any kind of operations today for the factory orders. Not that I think that it's going to be a really impactful number or anything, but it just like it feels very stop and go to me. Like that, it's waiting on the traders to make moves, and that these larger funds that are like kind of slow trickles of flow in one direction aren't really there like they usually are. Because we're a good 20 minutes into this and it's still kind of like just chilling around there, and then it'll big jump and then it chills again, and it's just not the same thing as your usual like run and pull back and run and pull back, Okay, well, silver may be picking up some support. GameStop's still kind of chilling around the lows of the day at 83. And what about these other ones? AMC down 7% too. BlackBerry down 2%. Bed Bath & Beyond pretty much unchanged. Oh, it looks like my Sumo Logic was doing okay in the pre-market, but it's come back a little bit. So is that so? If I had a certification or whatever, what would if I come in and I say I own, how many shares do I own of it? I don't remember. I own 40 shares of Sumo Logic. Is that enough disclosure? How does that work? I feel like there's a slightly odd action today, not really obeying levels for me like it usually would, says day trading is hard. Yeah, well, I think it's because it's just traders. It's traders gonna trade. Mugs available in the dude, I totally forgot, guys. Oh, I mean, I should focus. Okay, I'm watching this, but I'm gonna tell you, the store that we get our merchandise from, it has some new options. So you can get a phone case, and you can get a blanket. You can get a blanket. But I'm thinking if you get a blanket, I don't think that traders gonna trade would be the right thing to put on a blanket. So we need to come up with something cooler to put on a blanket. Maybe we can come up with an elaborate pattern with like diamond hands on it and stuff. What do you think? I like bear slippers. I'm still waiting for them to come out with a hat. I want a trader's gonna trade hat. Come on. Okay, so I think that things still look okay for buy meta order, short-term regime change after the meta order ends. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm not seeing them bailing. If they bailed, then that would take us back down to here, right? Somewhere right there. But maybe we wait for the 8 o'clock news and we see that 8 o'clock news could push us up, right? Given all of the other manufacturing and orders numbers that have been coming out lately, I would venture to guess that it will come out slightly higher than the 0.7% estimate. 0.7. I need to say it like the fancy British guys. Spot 7. Tesla get dumped? Ooh, yeah, you're right. Negative 1.39%. NASDAQ is outperforming today. Rare Earth Resources is doing pretty good, it looks like. I guess it doesn't take very much to make that thing go up, though. That's the thing with them. You think that GME is done? I'm not ready to declare the trade over until the next Tuesday's short interest numbers. It certainly doesn't look good right now, though, does it? But that's the next data point at which I think I would be able to make like an actual call on what the flow should be like. Unless you're going to make assumptions about the S3 data, because I'm still a little unsure about that stuff. But if you believe that the S3 data is correct, then it is over. I think, yeah. There could maybe be like a smaller short squeeze, but I think that we've seen the high. Unless it turns out that there's still a lot of shorts and that the whole thing is a smokescreen. Which is admittedly unlikely, to be honest with you. I think it's still a short ladder. No, sorry, Norbert. A short ladder is only a thing in penny stocks where there's no activity, and a strategy like that would not work in a security as heavily traded as GameStop is right now. Ethan says, I think we'll see a higher than expected short interest, but most of that will be from the $200 to $300 range. Well, so the number that we're getting from S3 is that there's like 20 million shorts. So if the data comes out next Tuesday and it shows that there's still 40 to 60 million shorts, then I think that this thing will just take off, or GameStop. This thing is really the E-mini right now, isn't it? Then I think that GameStop will just take off. Okay, getting the number here. Looks like it was good. Goldman boosts their non-farms payroll forecast from 125K to 200K. Excuse me, following better than expected jobless claims. Okay, actual one spot 1 versus the forecast spot 7. So what do you think? Do you think that one counts as a news trade? Well, let's see where they go from here, but I think that this is probably a combination of a few things. One is that you can try and guess what the number is going to be. I mean, I did say I think it's going to be higher than expected because that's the way that these have been going. I don't know how reliable that one is. I don't know if you trade that one all the time if you would actually make money on it. But I think that the trade here is that there was some people that were waiting until the factory orders numbers to really make their moves. So here's a case where maybe you're not directly trading the news, but you still need to be aware of it, right? Patrick Rooney looking at that news that Goldman increased their forecast. Oh man, okay. When I read that, I don't think that the impact of that really hit me until just now that they changed it from 75K to 200K. So they more than doubled their forecast. The 200K jobs number would be big. That would be a pretty big increase, right? But Patrick Rooney saying jobs are rising and rates will follow. Maybe. I am kind of wondering. They say, oh, we're not going to change anything. We don't expect that we'll reach our employment targets and therefore have the need to increase rates until like 2024. But I'm kind of wondering if the Federal Reserve is going to get caught flat-footed on that one. So it does seem like there's a lot of money floating around out there and, regular people. Okay, so yeah, the most of that push was before the factory orders number. Also, we're seeing a delta decrease. So this looks to me like there was the impact for people going into the news. The news was good, and now they're taking their profits. And here in this case, they're going to make, if this was like their impact. Let me redraw it. Impact, short-term regime change, back up because of the news, and then profit taking. And so they made money from there and there because they had an actual edge, right? So that means short-term pullback doesn't mean that we've reached the high of the day necessarily. So I'm still looking at my wider edge, which is that based on volatility targets, we could potentially reach as high as 38.60. Did you see Elon Musk's tweet from 5 hours ago? No, I did not. I thought he left Twitter for a while. I am become meme, destroyer of shorts. Sandstorm is a masterpiece. Okay, dude. Yeah, I thought he said he was taking a break. Oh, he tweeted a bunch of crazy stuff. No highs, no lows, only Dodge. Dogecoin is the people's crypto? Oh, Lon, are you still in that? Oh, dear. Oh my gosh, by the way, that reminds me. Check this out. This is freaking great, dude. This is just like check this out, man. I sure hope that is not happening because of me. But look at this. Garlic coin is worth 1 cent. That is 1 cent, right? Because that's $1. If it was $1, it would be 1. So that means that 01 means that it is now worth 1 cent. Huh? Look, garlic coin hasn't been worth a cent since the beginning. Since the beginning. The dollar is useless. Yes, guys, the dollar, it's useless. It will be moving down further. And the only way to protect yourself against inflation is to get into the inflation hedge of all inflation hedges, garlic coin. No, I'm joking here. I'm not. Just to be clear, any regulator looking at this after I make $1 million in garlic coin, okay, I'm not telling people to go out and buy garlic coin, but I am kind of promoting it here because it looks good, right? This will go on Twitch TV as a cutout. What? That is a good run, right? That is a good run. I don't know, man. I'm getting a little. When I looked at this last night, I was just looking at it on my on Delta. It's a phone application. It's a really great phone application, actually, to look at like your cryptocurrency portfolio. I actually, you know what I did? Oh, I don't know if I can show you guys. I'll try and show you guys. It's funny, actually. So I had like a portfolio, and when we were at the last peak in 2019, I think it was, I sold my portfolio, right? So yeah, here you can see it. I'll open that up and I'll like. Okay. So these are all of the cryptocurrencies that I was in. And you can see like what they are worth today. I sold it off and I made $1,200. And that didn't count the garlic coin, right? So you take the garlic coin out, the portfolio is still down 60% if I hadn't have gone out. Huh? This is why I feel so confident about my Bitcoin valuation model, because I made some good money off of the cryptocurrencies, and then I got out at exactly the right spot. And now garlic coin's taking off. This is freaking ridiculous, right? Make your bets on garlic. I can't even. I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, because we did talk about it last week when we got like all of the stuff in there. And remember me saying that, like, guys, if you even just bought like $100 of garlic coin, you would probably double the price, right? Now it's picking the momentum, right? Like, that's got to be on people's radars now, right? Maybe not quite yet, but who knows? You know what would be hilarious? No, wait, let me get rid of these. Oh, you know what? I was looking at the market cap there. The market cap on garlic coin has increased a ton. Oh, that is so interesting. Okay, but when we look at price, it doesn't look quite as good, does it? When we look at price, it's still big, but it's okay, 1 cent. I remember back in here when it was like 0.3 and I was like, oh yeah, this is great. Right? 2,000 volume and it's up 300%. Right? I'm telling you guys, garlic coin is the and listen, I'm going to swear here, YouTube. This is a technical term. Like, this is what it's actually called. Okay? It is a shit coin. It is the shittiest of shit coins. Like, the way that this coin was released and everything around it, and the way that like the interest in it died out and everything, it was absolutely terrible. Okay? But they did something really smart. They didn't make very many. They made it so that the cap on the coins wasn't very much. And then it mined out early. So you get all of these people that did get in on it early, and over time it'll appreciate. And The fact that all it takes is that much to push it up there just shows you that this is a coin that's been like chronically undervalued because its release was so terrible. And frankly, its community is still terrible. There's not a whole lot of use for it. But hey, if people come in, if Garlic Coin had as strong of a community behind it as Dogecoin, and honestly, all you've got to do is get the people to go in and make stuff and do the work, this would be worth like $100. Huh? Just saying. Just saying. Oh man. Okay, I've shilled for Garlic Coin probably a little bit too much now at this point, huh? Oh, you look at that. Look at that. It's so wow. So when was the last time? July of 2018. So when it finally fell through $1. And yes, you're right. It's like $1,000 comes in and it moves at 300%. So can you imagine what would happen if somebody put $1 million into, like if Elon Musk came and tweeted about Garlic Coin? This thing would be worth like $50 already. Anyways, I think it would be hilarious if Garlic Coin hit $1 before Dogecoin did, and it's possible actually. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it has a tendency like that's the spike and it'll just come completely back down, won't it? That's probably the most likely thing. Oh, well, okay. Somebody in Discord was like, "Do you have any recommendations about how to start?" And I was like, "Well, I got some starting videos. That is how I would start." With 10 million. Right? Oh, that's the prize if you win the Yada. I'm a little frustrated by the. Oh, can I open Yada on my desktop? Why not? Yeah, I think we can. Maybe not. I want to log in. Has there been any crypto mergers or takeovers? That's not something I've seen. Maybe you can't do it. Maybe they're just only a phone application and they don't want you to be able to log in on desktop. Well, I was frustrated because I got was the third day and I had a good number of tickets this week, 100 tickets, and I only got like one double so far, which was disappointing. Because you need 3, you need a triple to even make anything, so. Well, now this trend is looking awfully nice, don't you think? It's unfortunate that I took that hit on that first trade. But it's okay, I guess. Especially if we actually get the longer target, that would be amazing. They're afraid they will send a bad message if they buy a smaller one with all. What are you talking about? No, cryptos don't consolidate. They only fork. They only split. Oh no, GameStop not looking so hot at the moment. Come on, buddy, I believe in you. Oh, it looks like silver recovered their initial dip. I don't like any of this market. I'm a perma bear. Yeah. You got to be careful with the bearish sentiment, because bearish sentiment, I find, tends to be a little bit manipulative, you know? Like, I love Zero Hedge, but they post a lot of stuff that, like, convinces people that, like, the end is coming, and then they trade off of it, and it never works out for them. So I was thinking about a good example. The perfect example. Do you guys remember earlier on in the pandemic, and Zero Hedge would post this picture comparing the bull run that we have had with the bull run that they had in the like when the Great Depression started, right? And they were like, there was this big down move, and then they retraced like practically all of it, and then it came back a little bit, and they said like, oh, here's the chart now and here's the chart then, and they're almost an exact mirror. And then they busted and they made new all-time highs, and Zero Hedge just quietly stopped posting that chart. You remember that? Oh my gosh. I'm starting to realize I'm not quite sure how I want to do this. But it seems to me that one of the biggest, I'm not going to call it like mental fallacies, but kind of problems with the way that we as humans think that markets take advantage of is our limited attention. There will be a big question in the market, and everybody will be talking about this question, and then something else happens and they all move their attention over to this other thing, and that other thing never resolves. And then you never realize that the thing that everybody that was saying about this thing turned out to be dead wrong, and you forget it. So how do you fight against that? Well, I think that one thing would be to have really good records. Now, we have a good record because we have the YouTube, but it would also be nice to have a good record to just write it down a little bit so that I could search for it and find stuff, right? Find things a lot more easily by having a journal that's indexed and stuff, right? But you're not going to think to go back and look for the thing. So it still doesn't solve the attention problem. You know what I mean? Maybe we need to make a list of unanswered questions. What do you think? Let's try it. Okay. How many shorts are in GME? Is the S3 data correct? And the next one that I'm going to say is about silver. How is silver supply and then we'll put down here in answered questions. Answered questions. Is post-pandemic market mirroring a Great Depression crash? Answer: no. I don't have to save it, it just automatically saves it, right? Yeah, okay, cool. Boom, yeah, GameStop moving lower into the 70s now. Ugh. Tell me, Reddit. I still own a share, and my intention is to hold it until Tuesday, no matter what, but that's probably a bad decision. I'm doing it for my own personal pride. Maybe that's just a reason to just get out right now. I don't know, man. What do you think? I guess in the end it doesn't really matter other than like to me, but to me, the thing that would have made me like, I got it right was seeing that number coming out and just being like, okay, I should just get out now at 300. Oh, I got a message. Somebody's arguing with me. Before that, it was a conspiracy to push weed stocks or BlackBerry or Nokia. Some even claimed AMC was a conspiracy. Oh, geez, yeah. Oh, which, by the way, did you see that Nokia was down pretty big today because I guess what was on their earnings wasn't good. So all of the people that were trying to pump Nokia, ew. Okay, anyways, what do they got? Oh, yes, they're having that hearing today on Capitol Hill. That's important. Uh-oh, he tweeted. He has a Twitter? He has that Twitter? The Roaring Kitty, 19 minutes ago, GME. This man is built different. The Roaring Kitty. On Twitter. We will follow him. We will try to become friends with him. Okay, what does he say? 22 hours ago. It's a picture. GME. Built thesis primary points. I like the stock. Oh, that's a screenshot of like way earlier when GameStop was still $4. Yeah, but this is where I kind of start to get a little like so let's come to Yahoo Finance here for a second. At the moment, this company is worth $22 billion. What is a justified market cap for a retail company? What would be a good retail company? Let's just say Best Buy. Best Buy, they have their Best Buy is private? Oh, wait, Best Buy, BBY, there you go. Okay. It's like, I'm pretty sure they're a stock. So, if... Oh, geez. Okay. So, 29,000 million billion. Thousand million billion. 29 billion divided by 70 million would put it at 414. Last year, he posted that he believed the company could be valued at 1.5 billion. Well, they're way past that. Say shorting is on the table. I would still be really worried about shorting this. Like here's the thing, is that like you could get these sorts of things. Okay, so here's this. Well, we need yellow. And here it's coming up, and then there's this peak right here, and then we had this down, and then down. So you could still get something like this. Shoop. Right? I'd be really worried about that. Like, unless you shorted it at like $500 a share, I'd be a little concerned. Not to mention there's the whole thing about like, what if they flip around? Okay, so the E-mini is getting a pretty good decline here. Do we need to manage this? Doesn't look like it. I mean, getting Twitters. News Squawk. Do you miss Donald Trump being on Twitter? Hell yes. Shit's so boring now without him. Ugh. Romney unveils plan to provide $3,000 per child from the Washington Post. Oh, I love it. Yes, please. Please do it. Please. Oh, wait, what would it be? What would it be here? Oh, it's the Washington Post. I can't read that. Market rips after Romney pitches up to $4,200 handout for. Is that the market ripping? I don't know. Okay. Well, maybe it's been out for a while. Romney. Let's see if we can find it from a different outlet, shall we? Okay, so here's a one from a little bit from the top of the hour. Mitt Romney made history. He became the first Senate Republican to endorse a form of child allowance. While all low and middle income parents would get a cash benefit to help raise their kids regardless of whether or not they are able to work, at the time the plan was modest, amounting to only $1,500 a year for kids under 6 and $1,000 for kids 6 through 17. But on Thursday, Romney went even further and proposed the Family Security Act, one of the most generous child benefit packages ever, regardless of political party. The plan completely overhauls the current child tax credit and turns it from a once-a-year bonus to massive income support paid out monthly by the Social Security Administration. Whoa. So it is like a tax break every month. Parents of kids aged 0 to 5 would get $350 per month or $4,200 a year, and parents of kids 6 to 17 would get $250 per month or $3,000 per year. Parents with multiple kids could get a maximum of $1,200 per month or $15,000 a year. That translates to 5 kids between the ages of 6 and 17. Very large families would be somewhat penalized, but families with 3 or 4 kids will get the full benefit. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, even he's still kind of pulling back. I don't know if it's like a huge deal. I kind of want to hold this for the volatility target. So, I don't know. It's like, I don't really care. I'm more interested in this other stuff for some reason. How did my sim trades go, by the way? Well, Micro J is not doing, he's doing okay, but he has lost money today. Indy lost 400. Brandon made 300. And most of our guys on the micros haven't done anything. I guess Micro Brandon lost some money. 2 trades. Okay. Now we should close this. So you can see GameStop bouncing. Cool. Just like the current CTC, Romney's proposal would phase out for wealthy parents. The benefits begin phasing out for single filers at $200,000 per year and joint filers with $400,000 in annual income. But the phase out would be implemented on the back end through the tax code. Even the richest parents would still get their $250 to $350 per kid checks in the mail every month. They just return the money on April 15th. That helps ensure the benefit is truly available. I cannot believe that Mitt Romney is proposing this. If you're a liberal reading this and wondering if there's a catch, there is, but it's not necessarily a huge one. Romney doesn't want his plan to add to the deficit, and so he wants to simplify the set of child-related benefits the government currently offers. So his plan would pay the child allowance by eliminating a number of other programs, and including some of that mostly benefit the poor. This would not benefit the poor at all, to be honest with you. Return the money? What are you talking about? You're saying that I don't like the policy and you should return the money. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invest it all. I'm going to put literally all of it into 509s or whatever they call it to pay for the kids' college. But good grief, $15,000 a year is like insane. That's not how much I would get. I would get on the good year and get $10,000 a year. Still, you save up every year, and by the time those kids are in college, it would be like $100,000 fund. Any cryptos you have good expectations for this year? What do you make of Cardano? You know, I wish I was really into the altcoin thing right now. But with my indicator continuing to say that the cryptocurrency market is overvalued, I'm just not so into it. I do think that we're going to see a switch from Bitcoin into altcoins. I still own the Garlic coin, and Garlic, we showed you that a little bit earlier, but Garlic coin is looking really great right now. They made it to a cent. But hey, Big Toasty. We're doing okay. We've given up a lot of our win, but I don't know if this is like coming back or what. Democrats today to present the plan to cancel student debt. Oh man. So that's crazy to me that the government could give me $10,000 a year and it not add to the deficit simply by eliminating certain government programs. How is that possible? Also, we're kind of talking about basic universal income for children. Like, that's a problem, don't you think? Like, a lot of people aren't having kids lately, and now the government is going to literally pay you to have kids. Like, But here's why this seems like a big deal to me, though. Like, normally it would just be like, it's not going to happen. Great pipe dream. It's Mitt Romney, right? So if you have Mitt Romney and all of the Democrats, this passes. So this could happen. Sounds like Japan in a way. Do they pay you to have kids in Japan? But this is where it starts to get a little scary. Like, so I saw this video on TikTok the other day, and I made a TikTok for it, but I didn't post it. But basically, they were saying, if there was a basic universal income, what would you do with your $2,500 a month? And I'm like, $2,500? What? That's like my wife's salary. She's a flight attendant. Like, Are you kidding me? $2,500? Well, I would put it into the stock market. So then I went and I started doing all of my calculations because she was like, well, I need to use it to go to school. You see, it's such a beneficial thing for society because I get to go to school. Yeah, you'll get to go to school and then they'll just increase the prices on you. But I digress. In the 3 years, because this is $15,000. It was like $15,000. No, $30,000 a year, right? So in the 3 years that it would take her to go through school, my account would be worth over $100,000. I save all that money. Like, you realize how crazy that is? And of course, you're going to want to put it into the market as quickly as possible. I mean, look at the way that things went on this pandemic, right? Like, it's crazy. Like, you want to get in as early as possible. So everybody's going to be rushing in to buy the stocks as early as possible. So, and then the market's continuing to go up. And so everybody is putting their money into the stocks as quickly as possible. And there's a word for this, actually. This is actually something that has been studied quite a lot in economics, and it's called inflation. Like, how can this not? And I'm like really surprised that I know that Mitt Romney is kind of, like maybe a Republican in name only, but to propose like literally a form of UBI, I'm a little shocked. Most folks wouldn't put it in the market. They would use it to buy Twinkies and to Coke. Okay, so that was the other point that I was going to say when I said this won't help poor people at all. But we'll get into that in a second. Yeah, because you're right. The people that are poor would buy things with it. And it probably would be beneficial to them, I suppose. If there are things that they were really in need of. And so, yeah. But meanwhile, everybody, all of the people in the middle class that are already doing okay are just going to put that into the stock market and grow it in the stock market. And you're going to get massive inflation in the stock market. And, so what will happen is that the middle class that is able to invest it will be okay because they will be able to offset the changes in inflation through their investments. And the lower classes that aren't able to do that will just suffer more. You see? They will just fall behind more. It might not have a significant... It would have a temporary positive impact on their quality of life, but then as inflation rises, it would level off, right? But it would actually increase the disparity. The people on the upper end of the middle class would benefit greatly from this, and the people that are lower class would be even more, it would increase income disparity. That's my theory. I'm thinking through this. Okay, so we'll write this down. This is in the questions, right? So we don't want our attention to get all screwed up. Will Mitt Romney's child UBI bill pass? If it passes, inflation. If it passes, does wealth? I believe wealth gap increases. So that we don't forget. Rent money turns into mortgage payments, turns into loan money, turns into stock speculation. Yeah, well, and so here again, it's like, okay, people should be able to buy a house. Yeah, good. Yeah. So many more people able to buy houses, that means that the price of houses goes up. So If you are somebody that is in the right spot in their life that can buy a house right now, for me, that'll be great, right? It'll mean that my house will be worth even more, and I'll be able to sell it for like a huge profit and maybe go and buy an even nicer house. But if you're like still in school and you're not able to buy a house for another 5 to 10 years, then this is going to be awful for you, right? Because the prices are just going to keep going up, right? But every one of those ways that you look at it, it's inflation. Like, there's no way that these things... well, I would even argue, like we're looking at it right now, right? Like we've been getting the stimulus tax checks. If the government does things to continue the stimulus checks, then you're going to continue to see this environment. And I think that you can all see where this is going to go if this continued for years and years, right? It's not a good thing, I don't think. In Canada, really poor people can move to social housing and have their rent pinned to their spending capacity and most of the social security. Doesn't sound like UBI. Well, but that's not what we're talking about. What I did in that case, I bought cheap land within an hour's drive to my current employer. Having rent pinned to your spending capacity, that's actually a bad idea too, actually. So you know what's going to happen there, and I bet you it is the case in the places where they do this in Canada, right? Is that you can't find any low income housing, and the low income housing that you do have is crap, right? Why make that stuff if the government pays you less for it, if the government forces you to charge less for it? Just like what's happening in California. Well, the E-mini, pretty quiet right now. I would expect this to continue on for quite some time. Like, I think that we probably got another 10 minutes of it just going sideways. GameStop found another price support level, and it's already heading back down. This is ugly, man. Now, I'm wondering... One thought I'm getting here now is yesterday they put the restrictions on shorts, and today the restrictions are supposed to be gone, right? So are people going short here? Cities are passing laws to force social housing into luxury condos. There's a constant fight between developers and citizen groups. Yeah. Well, the real issue here is that I myself as a homeowner have an invested interest in maintaining and improving the value of my house. And my interests in the value of my house is contrary to your interests in getting low-income housing for you, right? So then we set up all of these barriers to make it difficult to build certain kinds of houses in certain kinds of places in certain kinds of ways. And then that creates these market distortions where developers don't build the low income housing, so they don't have anywhere to go, and it makes the rent rise. It's really unfortunate. And it's totally the fault of the upper middle class. And I'm totally a part of that, and I totally own up to it, right? Where is Gary? Yeah, it's just not in today, I don't think. He doesn't come in every day. I think he only comes in when he's feeling feisty. So Was some of the market rise because of Romney? If it was because of Romney, I would expect the dollar to go down. Don't you think? Or like silver and gold to move up? Well, maybe not, because it is supposed to be revenue neutral, right? So maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's wrong. So what else would move then? What would be a better proxy to see that that's what it is? Kid stocks? I don't know. Hey, actually, that's a good idea. What would be the best kid stocks? Walt Disney, McDonald's, Hasbro, Mattel. Okay, so let's search. Well, Hasbro is down today. Oh, there he is. Maybe he was just listening and he just hadn't said anything. I don't know. You would think that Hasbro would be like a great proxy for that, but it doesn't seem to show that at all. Well, it's been doing well lately, but can I not see extended hours on this one? Oh, but it is doing well today. It's off the highs, but it is doing quite well. That mirrors the larger market. Let's come back over here. I changed this one. This should be APL, Apple. Okay, Apple is not following that pattern. No, why do I have this like, I want 5 minutes. Okay. Man, Tesla's not following that pattern either. Yes, by the way, Material Corp doing okay. Okay, Goldman Sachs is following that pattern. So, so maybe some people are buying Hasbro because of that. I think that would be a good play. What do you think? Gary's usually good for those picks. What do you think? Hasbro, Mattel, or Disney? I don't know if you would get as good of exposure through Disney. I think that there's a lot other. I mean, Disney might be a good play overall, but I don't think that it would be as pure of a play, right? If you really wanted to get just exposure to the kid trade. Oh my gosh, this sounds so terrible. What are we going to call it? What are we going to call it? The Romney boom trade. That's what if we're going to get in on the Romney boom trade, I think that Hasbro and Mattel look like pretty good proxies for it. So the question is, which company is better? Well, this one lists Hasbro first. And Mattel is Matt. Okay, so Mattel is a 6 billion market cap company, and Hasbro is a 13 billion market cap company. Hasbro has a PE ratio of 34. Mattel does not. Wait, why does Mattel not have a PE ratio at all? Hold the boat. Mattel. Simply Wall Street. Executive summary. They must have lost money last year. Future health pants. Okay. So they're okay on the health and they're okay on the future growth. But what we should be seeing is that the future is going to be increasing. But we would like to see these other ones to be really good, right? Why do they put it as U.S. leisure? They say that it's undervalued slightly. Mattel. Mattel is unprofitable, so we can't compare its PE ratio to the U.S. leisure industry average. Okay. So. Now let's look at Hasbro. Hasbro, Hasbro has a dividend. And they have had strong past performance. Okay, debt is not covered by operating cash flow. Dividend is not well covered by earnings. Large one-off items impacting financial results. Has a one-off loss large of $143 million in December 27th. Okay. That's probably from pandemic, right? Maybe? I don't know. What they must have other stuff. So I'm not sure if that one is super great either. What about like... Scott's like, what the heck? Okay, well, if I'm looking more for like babies, right? What would be better for would be babies? I don't know how to spell that. Philips. It's one of the largest health companies in the world and it operates a variety of segments. They offer excellent mother and healthcare and oral child. Okay. Kimberly-Clark, the primary manufacturer of the popular disposable diapers Huggies. KMB. Ooh. Look at them. KMB. Kimberly-Clark. Kimberly-Clark. They have their... they've got a 19 PE ratio. Kimberly-Clark says a slowdown is coming 5 days ago. As far from seeing the end of a positive lift it is getting from the pandemic, the consumer staples giant this past week announced so they consider consumer staples. I don't know if consumer staples is the right way to play this, is it? Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Mothercare. Established in the UK, they have 50 years of experience. Mostly known for their pushchairs, prams, maternity, and lines of clothing. MHCRF. I'll pull one over here. Oops. MHCRF. So, did I get that wrong? Maybe they're not a company anymore. I don't know, when was this written? It doesn't have a date on it. 2019. So maybe they're not. That's called Mothercare. Maybe if I just search for Mothercare. Nah, they're listed in Europe. That's why. Now, I don't think that any of those ones were good. 3 stocks to play a millennial parent boom. See, they're all of these are from 2019 though. That's funny. A millennial parent, Carter. Oh, yes, CRI. There, okay, CRI. I've bought clothes from there. Retail. Talking oil and gas. Gary, I feel like that we're late. We're late to the oil and gas. You told me that would be difficult to get back to 50. Should have bought it when we were talking about it. I mean, we would have taken more. It would have been a big dip before we would have gotten anything out of it, huh? But I also, though, when I was looking at this, so you're saying USAC is a good one. I forget who they are. A-Rock, I'm not sure who they are. Kinder Morgan, they're okay, but they're kind of like more infrastructure. I'm a little concerned about the infrastructure side of it. Actually, I'm a little concerned about oil companies overall. Like, even though the price of oil is improving, the new administration is not going to be as friendly. So I don't know how you game that one out. But when I was looking at it, it seemed to me, and I think this was after Biden was elected, and that was the reason why I kind of stopped looking at it. I was like, well, yeah, but Biden's not going to like oil. But I was thinking you want to get into the exploration companies and the, just like Chevrons and those sorts of. But anyways, I think it's gone. Okay. Did I pull it up? This is CRI. Okay. Yeah, but we need like 6 months of data. Okay, cool. So they've actually got hit. Oh, because they're a retail store. Yes. Okay. So Hasbro seems like it's okay. There are some issues, but Hasbro. So let's come back over here to my. Where's my? What time is it? It's the top of the hour. We still got plenty of time. You guys are so quiet while I'm sitting here doing my my research. In case you're not sure what I'm yapping on about, Mitt Romney is proposing a bill where you would get paid a considerable amount of money per year simply for having children. And because it is Mitt Romney proposing this actually has a relatively good chance of becoming law because the Democrats will like it and they'll push it through and they'll try and use it to split Republicans and it'll just be delicious politics for them, right? So I'm thinking, okay, if we are going to invest on there being a millennial baby boom post-pandemic created by both millennials getting out and about again and from them, having kids because the government encourages it, then we would like to get into stocks that have to do with babies and children. So I'm going to put in here, and I have like somewhere in here, I have a investment. Here it is. Okay. See, I had down in here. Here's energy. Here, I'll show you some other ones. I put Aramco on that list, but I don't think that one's good. I don't think that one's good. What was PSX and OKE were two to look at. But anyways, I'm going to put this up here, down up at the very top. That we're going to call it the Romney boom stocks. Okay, and one of them is Hasbro, right? Yes. Okay. So now that we got Hasbro, it seems okay, but it has some issues. Now I'm going to look at, should I look at Carter's? So Carter's isn't going to be doing so hot right now because the pandemic is still there. Well, it says, it looks like that the company is in pretty good financial health. They have a high level of debt. Large one-off items. Profit margins are lower than... Yeah, of course they are. Significant insider selling over the last 3 months. Oh, no. Okay, but what about from a valuation perspective? Return on equities. The low. Okay. And then the price, where's that spot? Right here. So they do say that they're a little undervalued for the share price. Price to earnings ratio. CRI is poor based on its PE ratio. Mitt Romney, the Comney, right? What about ketchup? Kids love ketchup. Oh, man. So this one is comparing it to clothing companies. The Children's Place. See, I don't know. I don't know if there's a couple of different ways to play this, but I don't know if like a retail clothing store is the way to play it, you know? Children's Place. Natus Medical provides newborn care and neurology products. Well, NTUS might be okay because medical has been doing pretty okay lately too, right? I bet you they're. Let's see. I guess I shouldn't try and make any guesses, but okay. They don't change very much. They're like a penny stock. So I don't know if that one makes sense. One could go, oh, I'm still in it. You think I get 150? Actually, I should put it right there. Boom. Okay. And that's it. Here's an article from Barron, stocks to buy for a millennial. They were pushing Carter's. Gymboree went bankrupt. Maybe you should just get into Tinder, right? Where was I long from? The open. So 38, 33 and a quarter. And I held through that pullback. Hey, look at that. It actually came back up a little bit sooner than I expected. What about children-friendly software or hardware that helps when they are learning online? That's actually not a bad call, Winston, but I'm going to bet that those are already up massively from the pandemic, you know? I don't think that would provide us a good value play. It seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me like our best option is Hasbro. Now, Hasbro is a $13 billion company. There's a couple of little things about it that were, that our research showed were maybe some problems, but you're going to run into that with everything during the pandemic. So I'm not so sure that those are necessarily problems, but I am going to have to go back and look into their balance sheet and see what those charges actually were, and see what like the earnings calls and stuff were saying. Well, I did. I took it with 2 contracts, and I already covered 1 share. Yeah. I've been trying to take it on. So the reason why I didn't freak out when we had that larger decline was because I am trying to see if on my discretionary trades, what is the true MFE, MAE on it. So that's why I'm taking 2 contracts, and one I take off at the 16 and one I let run. And that way I should be able to determine, based off of the stats, what the actual probabilities are. How often do I get my first target? How often do I get my first target and then it goes back and it stops me out? And if it doesn't, how far do I tend to get it to ride? Hershey's. The Hershey's company is one that it lists. Kellogg's, no. No. Oh my gosh. I when I was on my mission, I was in a place where they used to have a cereal plant. I think they moved it, but then were building this huge new housing complex that basically everybody assumed was gonna be migrant workers to work in this new factory that they were doing. But when people talk about what it was like to work in the cereal factory, it sounded awful. But if it hits 4 points and then comes back, you just wasted $200. No. Maybe you mean $200 on a full ES contract. So the funny thing is that the I used to always just look for like 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 ratio trades. And I started going back and doing some back testing and started looking for like 4-to-1 and 5-to-1 trades. And I actually started to find that those were better in some instances. So I kind of turned them into intermediate swings, which is kind of the way that I used to be anyways. People say, oh, scalp treasuries, you swing them. Maybe. So, yeah. I'm just going off of some stats. Is, if I can take runners, that makes a big difference. And so... Have you considered fertility plays? There's a new wave of fertility startups, home hormones test, stuff like that. Yeah, we could, fertility stocks? I don't know. Fertility, fast-growing fertility sector. COO. Cooper Companies and Progeny are the two top ones that these guys list. Finance, yahoo.com. COO. The Cooper Companies. But what does it consider this? Well, it's expensive. It's 384. It's doing really well this year, though. So that thing is on a tear. Its PE ratio 79. That looks like that's something that's just already gone to me. PGNY. Progeny. Oh, did my internet just kill over again? Oh, right. He's still there. There, now we're back. I'm sorry, I guess I'm just having random internet issues. So as I was doing that, GME taking a hard hit. How are you? There we go. Are we back? So I don't know how to tell if that was me or it's on my end. I have to take a look at it. I don't know what's causing that. It's rocking the 5 o'clock shadow. This is like 2 weeks worth of growth. It's time for me to shave it. Hope that I don't get another. I was thinking, like, I have this cord that I guess is maybe that end is a little bit off. I wonder if it's not the cord, if it's the plug itself. But because that end of the cord is not one that I did, but I did do the cable inside, and that could be off a little bit. Anyways, I digress. Oh, so Ace was what you were saying is I need to move the stop up to there, right? That's all you was saying. Fine, sure. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. And then it does it again. So sorry, I'm back. It might be just a good time to just shut down. Well, I may end up having to peek this thing anyways. Our app is not loaded. Like, the GameStop is just dismal. And I want to keep at least some of my profits. Hello. Scott says, what? He's like, what? You're going to drop GameStop? I don't know, man. Like, look at it. It's like a freaking disaster. This is the behavior that I'm getting at it. What the hell is wrong with my internet, man? I'm making me mad. It says I'm connected to the network. Diamond hands. Is it my robots attacking my network? I don't know, man. That actually did kind of screw up all my robots because, like, their unrealized and realized profits aren't showing. That must be because, well, I don't know, actually. Is it the way that it's happening randomly makes me think that it's my internet provider. It's a DOS. It could be. It's not giving me my it's not showing me the network traffic on my router. And it's not. Maybe the router is having an issue. This price action in GME is just disastrous. I mean, come on. Short seller's gone for 1 day, and then it starts turning down like crazy again. At this rate, 40s aren't too fair. Yeah, and I was telling myself like 50, 20. I would like to hold it till Tuesday, but there's clearly more going on than anticipated if it's behaving like this. You think it's panic retail now? It could be. I wish routers or ISP had a legal obligation to explain network issues. Well, does kind of seem like my internet's having an issue. It seems like maybe it's the internet or the router, not necessarily my machine. Jamie, it reminds me of the FOMO 2018. Well, I don't know. Like, the thing is that, so the, what do we say? How do we say this? The scenario that the market seems to be following is that the squeeze happened and the shorts covered, which means that the GameStop trade played out, but that we did not realize it fast enough, if that makes sense. You are no longer connected to your router. And you know what? I think that they're streaming over there. So maybe it is my cable or something like that. Or that plug. Try pulling that plug out. Okay, well, guys, I'm not going to put you through this buffering nonsense any further. We'll see. Maybe do something later with GameStop. But I'm going to log off now. It's the weirdest looking squeeze. And well, I think that what happened, if the shorts are out, I think that what has happening is that the data that everybody was looking at is like a day late. So the shorts got out like Tuesday, Wednesday of last week, and then everybody thought that, oh, it's over, like we can't trade and there's still more to squeeze, but at that point it was already over. What should we name today's stream? Romney baby boom. Save. Stay profitable, friends.